bit in this world. Hello, people, boys and girls. I think we're live. Sound. Does everything still function? No, nothing's functioning. Hold on a minute.
Silence.
What, it hasn't gone out yet?
I had to talk to my son about dinner plans. I'm sorry. Had to take a little break. Took a little nap. Anyway. Hey, guys. I think we're live. Yeah, we are fucking live. What are we going to do now?
Well, hopefully nothing that has to do with your new avatar.
I'm just being honest. Actually, there is a video. What is the name of this video? After Show, Dr. Danny Boy versus Otangelo. And I've been talking to somebody called Argatha, who was on with Danny, the real Danny, that night. Did you see Argatha at all? He's kind of a new player in the community. He's actually, he seems like a fairly intelligent and reasonable person. But then I got into this conversation with him, and I am very confused. Okay, Andrew, you were raised Christian, right? Or raised, or were you?
Or
if you don't want to say it.
I would say that.
Huh? Oh, you wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
I kind of, well, it's, I like to say from the moment I started reading books, like I never really got into Christianity that much. Silence.
Okay, yeah, okay, so I don't fucking understand Christians, and I'll tell you why. There's something that I honestly just don't get, and I keep talking to them about it, and they treat me like, they treat me in this, they just dismiss me out of hand, like I should understand what they're talking about, and I don't fucking get it. I mean, it's like I do not get some aspects of how Christians think. And then when I try to have a reasonable conversation with them about it, they act like dismissive. I don't know. Maybe you can name his style of what he's doing here, because I think it's pretty fucking odd. Anyway, so what is it? It started out with him saying he did not get Gallup. I guess somebody accused him of it. And then he had that shirt on that said something about, everything's meaningless without God. And I said, your shirt has no explanatory power, which is kind of, I thought was pretty clever. And then I would love to discuss with you where you got willfully ignorant from Dr. Dan. He called Dr. Dan willfully ignorant. So I wanted to talk to him about that. And he said it was a general statement regarding why men refuse to believe in God. And another phrase is suppressing the truth in unrighteousness. And what do we have? And then he said, if there is no God, there is no eternal life. If life ends, it's meaningless. That's it right there. What in the fuck are they talking about?
What?
Yeah, if life ends, it's meaningless. And we elaborate a little bit, and then we'll get into Godfather, because we had a conversation about Genesis. So I said, Argatha, his name is Argatha. So anything that ends is meaningless in your religion, right? And I don't know. Somebody told Argatha he's stupid. I didn't say that. And then he said, speed of sound, it is not a religious statement. If you don't have eternal life, there's no difference in the grand scheme of things, whether you live another 10 years or die right now. Now, what the fuck? How is that not a religious statement?
Yeah.
I mean, if there is no eternity, when you die, you will be forgotten eventually. Beyond that, eventually, the heat death of the universe will occur, and there will be no more life if naturalism is true. Once this happens, there will be no one to remember. Nothing will be remembered. Nothing will have accounted for it to anything. So does that mean nihilism now?
Well, I'll tell you what it means is, which whoever's saying that, doesn't realize, what it says is holy fuck, is the life you get precious. You know, I mean, because you better get every fucking ounce out of every minute you live, because you know what? It's going to end in a very short time. And even after it ends, you'll finally be forgotten, and there will be no trace of you or your fellow humans at some point in the future.
I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been paying attention to the chat. My cataracts are fogging up. I'm really old now. I don't know if I don't know how this 70 bullshit is fitting with me. Anyway, okay, so how does that render what is meaningful right now meaningless?
What's so dark? You didn't hear my answer to that?
Yeah. Did I already read that?
I'm saying I just said something. It took about 60 seconds to respond to you. And
let's try it again.
Nose in the chat, not listening to it.
I had my nose in the chat.
What is going on?
Nothing. Midnight.
Oh God, it's so funny. He shows up and we're talking about life being meaningless.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, why do you think I came in? I hate the pessimism in here.
Illustration. Okay. I thought you were
Speed. Do you know who you're using?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew which character you're using.
I hope I don't get a strike, copyright strike. I probably will.
No, I mean there's a reason why I ask. Okay.
Why?
Well, have you ever watched Family Guy?
Yeah, and but I can't remember exactly. Is he like
that guy's a pedophile?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah. Why do you think when I came in, I said, Chris, bring your fat ass up here?
Okay,
Exactly.
I totally missed it. See what I mean?
Like, he's always peddling on Chris.
Yeah, you need to get rid of that.
I like it. Anyway,
that's not helping your.
Not helping my case.
I mean, it's just a cartoon.
I know. I don't care.
Walker, for fuck's sake.
I know. I don't care. It's just. I was just giving you shit.
Yeah, I guess I haven't watched Family Guy for a while, enough to know that, I guess. Anyway.
My life is meaningless, John. Give it meaning.
Yeah, your life is meaningless. So, okay, John, what was your answer that I missed? That apparently I was looking at chat. I'm sorry. John?
Stop talking because I'm here.
That's right. I muted myself because I'm still trying to figure out how to unblock it. But look, what do you think? You think I like record every word out of?
I know. Okay. How does that render what is meaningful right now meaningless? So
I mean, what I said, something along the lines of what it means that this person who's saying this that you're quoting doesn't understand is their argument is a proof of how precious life is, and that you better get everything you can out of your life every minute you're alive, because your life's going to end very soon, and then soon people forget you ever existed, and then at some point in the future the entirety of mankind is going to be wiped out, and then nobody will ever remember you. So
right,
man, what pessimism! Holy shit!
So this is key to why I really, really hate Christianity.
I mean,
it's this kind of thinking. And I said, have you ever been to a family gathering that was meaningful to you? He says, what is meaningful now is ultimately meaningless, with uppercase. If life ends, it is futile. And I am pretty sure this is objectively irrefutable. So then I said, okay, so it's meaningful now. Why do you require it to be meaningful forever? Humility, gratitude. Have you ever heard of these things? And then he says, it is meaningful because I have eternal life. Dude, I have, after the heat death of the universe, what was the meaning of your life and who was around to care? And I said, I guess this must be the difference between Buddhists and Christians when it comes to meaning. We Buddhists have a lower bar for caring and meaning in our lives. My daughter died in November. I fucking misspelled that. Was her life meaningless because she was an atheist and there's no eternal version of her? I meant.
Well, that's only contingent on eternal life being real. My
do have
life
a
has
quick question.
ultimate meaning because my life is eternal. That's a religious statement.
Yeah.
It's contingent on his God and his system all being true. So all that boils down to is I believe my life has meaning because of my religion.
Yeah.
Well, my
And
life
nothing else.
has meaning because of my family, my grandchildren, my endeavors, doing the things I love.
I have a
my health.
question. Was
right
this for speed? Was this in Dapper side chat yet last night, or was this over email?
No,
Where was this exchange?
This was on the Mad Donkeys channel.
Mad Max's channel.
Yeah.
When?
And it was a video that, let's see, it was him, and I read the.
Oh, was this in the comment section?
Comment section, yes.
Okay.
So then I said, I am honestly very confused by your kind of thinking. And I'm kind of trying to reach out to him, explain that I really don't get his thinking, right? And I hope you realize that not everyone on the planet shares it with you. My life is meaningful to me right now, today. Her life was meaningful in every day that it was and every day that we remember. We don't need to do it every day into the infinite of eternity to make it all meaningful. To me, this is gross and heretical. And for me, this is like heresy. Hearing that our life is meaningless unless it lasts forever, to me, is heresy. I mean, that's
just stupid.
I
wanted to piggyback.
I don't need affirmation and acceptance from some religious nutbag. Secondly, little Otangelo, don't tell me that atheism removes hope or atheism removes morality, because I know through experience it doesn't. You're full of shit. Go away.
I mean, to be fair, I have met some atheists who are like, life is meaningless. What the fuck is the point to go on? There's no God. I don't know whether to take them seriously or just think they're edgy.
Well, people go through depression whether or not God is, they have a religion or not. And then sometimes you do encounter periods of time where you don't know what direction to go, or you don't know what might bring you a sense of fulfillment or happiness, or get those dopamine hits going. And so that's just part of life. That's a phase. And religion only seeks to prey on
yourself
or
meaning and make your life become objectively meaningful.
I wanted to.
Destiny is death. Christianity's hope is eternal life.
I wanted to piggyback off of something that Scott said a little bit ago, and it plays into what I'm assuming it's not Tangelo. I think he's the only one that's on that channel.
Yes.
Where he said you giving yourself meaning does not make your life becoming objectively meaningful. It does not make your life objectively meaningful. The thing is that there is meaning is not objective. Things like meaning and purpose and destiny and hope are not objective. They don't exist somewhere out in reality independently of us. They're ideas that we dreamt up because we give ourselves meaning. They're things we give to ourselves. So this is independent of one's particular philosophical or theological worldview. You could be a theist, you could be an atheist, it doesn't matter. We figure out what our meaning is, what our purpose is. We don't need something to tell us what it is. Some people, that's what they feel. And if that's what you want, that's cool. But it's not. What the fuck just happened? It's not objective in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that word ultimate, when you just add it to meaning or whatever else, it's just like a crouton on a word salad. That's all it is. It's nothing. And so, yeah, it is not in my worldview. I'm not saying anything about your worldview. You're proposing to read our minds and our motivations and what gives us meaning, and you can't do that. And that's what your religion has taught you and brainwashed you to do, Otangelo.
Yes, and the other problem is these theists consistently make. I'm trying to think of the opposite of a distinction. But the connection isn't the word that I'm going for. They insinuate. What
is in the next? Okay, the next comment. It is not objectively meaningful. It is subjective. So he's trying to talk about this relativism shit, right, or something like that.
You're just adding those little sunflower seeds that get between your teeth and gums onto your word salad, Otangelo, or whoever was our gaffer who said that.
I wanted to finish my point really quickly. What they do is
I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. What they do is and we all know that they do this. We've seen them or heard all of them do it. That atheism automatically entails nihilism. It automatically entails physicalism or materialism or naturalism.
Relativism.
Atheism automatically entails all these other separate and distinct philosophical notions that atheism doesn't even purport to address. They just slap it on there because they're trying to scapegoat atheism as being some morally, philosophically, intellectually, meaningfully bankrupt idea, when that's just not that's not what it is. I know people who are atheists who believe in supernatural things, who think that morality is objective. So this idea that atheism has to mean nihilism, has to mean physicalism or naturalism or what have you, has to mean moral relativism is just straightforwardly wrong. And
Right on, Leo.
Hey, can I ask a question apropos of nothing you're talking about? But so I'm watching on YouTube and I hear you guys all bantering back and forth with Otangelo. I can't even see him in the chat, even here on StreamYard.
Oh, God Talk? The God Talk?
Yeah, that's his other channel.
God Talk is Otangelo?
Yeah.
Or maybe
I found by going back to a former stream of yours and going into the chat, I was able to find Otangelo and unblock him. So his original Otangelo Grasso account that he had the wrench for. The wrench is restored because I can't do that, but he's been unhidden.
Okay, good. Okay, so anyway, I kind of wanted to get through this.
I'm sorry, did we steal your broadcast?
Yeah, no, you fuckers. It is your opinion that despite your belief that we are not eternal, your life and your daughter's life have meaning. So it's my belief that my life has meaning. What the fuck is meaning other than a belief?
Why the fuck would he bring your daughter into this? I mean,
oh, wait a minute. No, okay, no. I pulled the daughter card.
Okay.
I brought her up. I mean, okay, listen. Let just shut the fuck up.
Okay, wow,
dude.
I'm getting old and cranky,
dude.
I go what?
I mean, again, all I was going to say was he's making the argument that life has even more meaning. If you know that you're going to live forever, that diminishes the meaning of your life.
I agree.
Okay. I
disagree with that, but that's an argument better left in text. Go on.
I brought her up because that's where my fucking mind goes when somebody says that your life is meaningless if it ends, right? I just lost somebody and you're telling me that she's meaningless because her life ended and she was an atheist? Fuck you. You know, and so there's a little bit of fuck you going on here with me. I'm a little pissed yet. So, I said, why do I care about the fucking heat death? And that's what I should have said of the universe. Your life right now is meaningless to you, or is it that you think the pizza you ate today is somehow going to be meaningful after the heat death of the universe? Honestly, your thinking terrifies me. And then I said, what the fuck is objective meaning for? Why is my eating a pizza today objectively meaningful? And obviously, when you eat a pizza or when you enjoy anything, it is a subjective, belief-based sort of experiential thing that's going on. And that's all your life is. You eating a pizza is probably not meaningful because my guess is you don't glorify God when you do, he says. So if I glorify God, somehow pizza is going to have this massive glowing meaning. It's going to, like, I'm going to see pizza in robes. Pizza nailed to a cross. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I think he's trying to say that if you glorify God, masturbation is much better.
Yeah, masturbation would be meaningful, and for eternity, you know. For what? And anyway, so I think that's pretty much the end of that conversation.
Who's this Godfather?
Oh, sorry.
Huh?
Who's this Godfather guy, and why are they bringing?
We're going to get into that.
Tony, isn't it? Because he just brought up abiogenesis being a failure in a discussion that had absolutely nothing to do with that. That's got to be Tony.
Well, how does God talk? Okay, so Otangelo was told his regular account has been unhidden, so now he's in here commenting on his regular account and also still commenting on the God talk. Like
he's doing both.
Oh, okay. The God talk is saying he's Tony.
Yeah, the
Godfather is Tony?
Well, I figured that he was because the comment that I saw down, if you scroll back down, just said, you're clueless, abiogenesis is a failure. And I'm just like,
Oh, for
what
fuck's
is the
sake.
conversation that Speed and Argotha were having, Argotha, I think, so I can't remember.
Yeah, it had nothing
We're
to do
having
with
literally had nothing to do with it. Like, I don't
know.
think I've ever heard him talk about anything else, ever.
But what the
Oh,
fuck am I
are you
talking
talking about in the thing that Speed's been reading or in the live
Yeah.
chat? No.
The thing that Speed's been reading.
Okay, I would, if I'd known it was Tony, I would never have answered him because he's just so stupid. I can't talk to him.
I mean, the thing is that, yeah, brain fart, boomer brain fart. What did you say, Leo? You said he what?
He
Abiogenesis. Yeah.
Right.
So first of all, abiogenesis can't be a failure because it is merely a hypothesis, and that's a fact. It's a hypothesis, So how can it be a failure? Because it is a hypothesis, and it is presented as a hypothesis. Like, yeah, how can it's not a failure? It can't be.
Yeah, but anyway, that is the next topic after we beat this this meaningless thing into the ground. But do you see what I mean? Christians think that we get this, and if you've never been a Christian, this sounds like the stupidest thing you've ever heard. That I can't. Okay, I can't. I'm not going to the party because the party doesn't last forever. What the fuck does that mean?
I would say it's more them saying, well, you can't have fun at the party because it's not going to last forever in your view. So you can't have fun there. It's like, I'm still having fun though. I'm still enjoying myself. Just because I don't think the party's going to go on forever doesn't somehow remove my ability to enjoy the time that I do have. And like John alluded to, I think that knowing that we're not here forever gives life more meaning. It's more, I don't want to use the word sacred. It's more valuable because it isn't something that's always going to be there, that you're always going to have.
So life is like money.
Hey, if I know I don't have a vote, but Tangelo just asked if he could be made a mod again. I vote against it, even though my vote doesn't count.
And I did it because he likes to post his cat's board stuff, and I just want people to be able to post links when they talk about stuff. And Otangelo has never misused his mod powers. He's never actually blocked another person. So, I mean.
Oh, okay. I guess that's a shot at me.
Did I take a shot at you, John? No, that was okay yesterday. You fucking deserved it.
Otangelo says, John, abiogenesis is a failure on other grounds. Those because here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, you can disagree with the hypothesis, and you can attempt to refute the hypothesis or give a counter argument for it, but it's as its status as a hypothesis, by definition, it can't be a failure. Okay, because I can say, Tangelo Grasso has a brain, made out of Swiss cheese, and that's that's my hypothesis, that your brain is made of Swiss cheese. And until we actually saw your skull open,
right,
and falsify my hypothesis, it's still a hypothesis.
Yes, you cannot say that a hypothesis is a failure until it's been falsified.
Yeah, and they're still testing it, like that.
Exactly.
David Deemer. He's got a paper that he's working on, and he's, these things are still under process. So,
and the funny thing is,
failure is a little too premature.
It is, and the funny thing is abiogenesis, as it's obviously still a hypothesis, we all acknowledge that, but it's making pretty good strides in giving us a better explanation of how life may have potentially developed on Earth.
Fucking Otangelo, fucking quoting people again.
Oh, you're quoting Eugene Koonin, who works on abiogenesis research, for Christ's sake. Don't do that. Don't quote people that completely do not agree with you, Otangelo.
That's called quote mining, and it's fallacious.
Yeah. And remember, Eugene Koonin calls, what did he say? You guys are nonsense. That intelligent design is malicious nonsense, were his exact words. So if you want to quote from Eugene Koonin, put that up there. Put that in your fucking pipe and smoke it.
The ultimate goal, the origin of life field, is a failure. Yes, Otangelo, because we have not come up with the the definitive answer of what the origin of life is. That's what he fucking means, that thus far it has failed.
24 minutes until my weather report turned into the Otangelo report.
Yeah.
You honestly just better start calling it the Daily O Show or
minutes.
something like that.
We were on Dapper Dino last night with Otangelo, and we had quite an interesting conversation, and we kind of nailed him to the wall in a number of ways that he probably completely does not get yet, but it was pretty good. So it was a really good after
Jello to the wall, or at least Jello to the wall.
Yeah, it's hard to nail Jello to the wall.
I did want to say really quickly that Dapper just straight bodied Otangelo in that debate. I mean, he did. He just did. It was good. It was a really good debate, but Dapper just bodied him.
Right, because he kept bringing him back to the to basically falsifiability.
Yeah, it's like, all right, then he's saying, okay, if this is what you're admitting, then you have an unfalsifiable assertion. We can't test it. We will never know if it's true or false. That's that. No reason to consider it. Sorry.
I listened to. I got there a little late, but I heard most of Otangelo's opening, and then I heard like maybe the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes of Dapper's opening, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's over."
Yeah,
I left. I didn't even watch the rest of it.
Yep.
I just figured that I didn't want to hear the Marvin the Martian's voice.
So I guess this idiot Tony is actually the Godfather. So
yes.
I was talking to him a little bit, and I said, I was trying to get him to understand why they use why they control their experiments in abiotic chemistry, right? And I said, if they got it to work under prebiotic environments, meaning a vast mixture of conditions, if they took like this big gigantic vat and filled it with all sorts of different conditions and every chemical that you could possibly think of, how would they use an experiment to figure out what happened? How would they know what the fuck happened? Suppose they did that and life crawled out of their vial.
Well, right. Otangelo.
How would that tell us how life happened?
Well. So look, Otangelo won't be satisfied until something like that happens. Until they put together a big vat of chemicals, and then a fucking raccoon crawls out of it.
No, but if that happened, we could equally well say, "Oh, God did it," because we don't know how it happened, because we had so many different conditions going on in our reaction vessel that we would not know what happened.
Exactly.
Does everybody understand that point, that this isn't how science works? You don't
100%.
You don't take the entire Earth, and that's what I meant by it is not fucking pudding. You don't take this big pile of fucking this pile of garbage and throw it in a vat and see what crawls out, because you won't know how it crawled out.
Yes,
because you cannot control the reaction. You cannot figure it out.
You have to specify each step to figure out what the actual steps are. That's got to be highly controlled. This and why am I drawing a blank? Fuzz Rana brings it up all the time that, well, he calls it, I think, like the contrivance problem or something like that. That all the experiments that we do are there's contrivance there. Humans have to be involved to specify what's going to happen and all this stuff. So these experiments for origins of life, with like RNA amplification and things like that, don't work because humans, unintelligence, had to be involved. And that's literally like saying, well, humans have to control experiments to create super magnets or superconducting materials. Therefore, they can't actually.
And we froze.
Leo did. I don't know.
It's also kind of like saying that.
Is what Leo said meaningless because he froze, or is it meaningful because he froze? Because he could be frozen till eternity.
So Otangelo said that cells and neurons are irreducibly complex.
Oh yeah.
I mean, isn't everything made out of like smaller particles? So how does it make it irreducibly complex?
Danny is irreducibly complex. Irreducibly complex. Danny's just walked into the room.
Is that Danny?
Your camera's on, Danny.
Yeah, your camera. We know what Danny looks like now.
Oh yeah, your camera's on.
Don't be mad. You're You're better, more
I'm
attractive than I am.
He's one of the few
Probably stay
people
on
that
camera.
actually looks like his voice sounds.
If you want me to edit that out, I will.
It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
You
share
mean
my
to tell
face.
me? You mean to tell me that I don't sound what I look like?
Well, I don't know what you look like.
Yeah, I've never
I don't
seen
know.
him.
don't.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
don't.
being.
But Danny sounds like his.
I don't know
his-
what
his
you
little-
look like, so I can't make that determination.
well, I mean, just think of an albino. There you go. That's what I look like.
Albino. Okay.
You talking about like that albino priest on?
Is that a breed of horse?
Fuck you, Speed.
What was that movie?
I've never used StreamYard on my mobile, so
It had Tom Hanks, Ian McClellan. It was about Dan Brown's book.
Oh,
Da Vinci Code.
the Da Vinci Code. Yeah.
Are you like that albino priest on Da Vinci Code?
Do you mean Angels and Demons?
That was the second movie.
Yeah.
Well, the Angels and Demons came out first in book form, and then it was the Da Vinci Code. For some reason, they went backwards with the movies.
I never read the books.
I read 500 pages in a week once. That was a good book.
So I want to
I
plug a
took you a
video.
whole week to read 500 pages.
I mean, yes,
Fucking
because my
yeah.
cousin. Yeah, because my. You know what? Never mind. Doesn't matter.
I want to plug a video.
Go ahead.
Dr. Dan had a conversation with Ken Miller.
I watched that earlier. That was really good.
I had forgotten who Ken Miller was yesterday and or the other day. And anyway, this is a really good conversation about creationists.
Really was.
And he was in the very beginning, so everybody should watch this. And it's really short. It's only 45 minutes, but hell,
Hey, I'm sorry. I know because you already complained about this before, but so remember what happened like a couple weeks ago when Otangelo was on and he quoted some crazy fucking stat that, 10 to the 124th that life could ever exist. And now he's putting some similar thing out there. The odds to have a minimal cell by unguided means is 10 to the 722,000. Now, let me ask Otangelo.
you know that.
Like you did the other day, could you post the link to where that's substantiated? Because I have a sneaking feeling you didn't read the paper correctly again.
Oh yeah, post that link, Otangelo, first, and not a link to your goddamn cat's board, a link to the paper.
The problem with that comment is what is a minimal cell? How are we defining a minimal cell? What does that mean? And two, he can link the paper, but I'm more interested in their methodologies for determining this because we've only seen life in one place in the entire universe, and that's Earth.
Yeah, how did they figure those numbers
What
out?
the fuck is going on with your internet, Leo?
Oh,
Your internet's been fucking trash for like weeks now.
Well, yeah, I don't know what happened. The problem is we probably just need to get a new modem. You're never supposed to use the modems that your ISPs give you. You're supposed to buy aftermarket ones because they're just always better.
Oh, so the probability, yeah. Interesting. Walker makes a good point. Anyway, Otangelo asks, what the hell are you trying to accomplish by your denial? And that was interesting because I think Dr. Dan and Ken Miller talked about that a little bit about their denial and how ridiculous it is to deny science. I mean,
Super Horror Energy's got a very nice comment.
okay.
Yeah, aren't the odds of cells occurring, wouldn't the odds of that be 1 since it's happened already?
Right. And the minimal cell, I mean, and they asked him last night during the debate and in the after show, how do you know what the minimal cell was with Angelo? And it just went over his head.
From what I gather, we probably have not yet imagined what the
minimal cell was.
Prebiotic pre-Luca kind of cells were anyway.
Yeah.
Because they were probably constructed of molecules and materials that are things that we have not encountered before. So how do we know?
Yeah, the first cells that we haven't seen, like he says, those were probably like the 1980s series form of Cylons. and then now like the ones that turned into human beings, those were like probably the 2000s form of Cylons.
Yeah, and they weren't said they were likely lamina, not cells. I mean, there's all these different shapes and different forms you get when you interact with geology. There's all these different possibilities, and we just don't know. So there's no way to calculate the odds of it.
What's this Reasons in Science cashboard?
That's his blog.
That's where he copies and pastes everything so that he can copy it, paste it onto these chats.
Yeah,
it's just copy and paste repository.
Massive.
The odds even to have one functional protein by unguided means is astronomical.
How to make the calculations from a creationsafaris.com. This ought to be rigorous,
to say the least.
Yeah, I want just to kind of point out what Jerry is saying there, Jerry Penna. I really thought Dapper did an extraordinary job, at least from I didn't watch the whole after show, but he really moderated that well and gave people a chance to state their points of view.
Yeah.
Did it later on turn into a dumpster fire or anything, or was it pretty much
No, it was good all the way through. They had a really good talk, and everybody no over talking at all.
Well, I mean, I was impressed with Dapper's opening because of the fact he started out with, "Hey, Otangelo, I like this that you just said, and this you know, hey, this you had a good point here." And so like, and I didn't watch the rest of the debate, so I'm not sure. But I think what Dapper did, he built like a compliment sandwich with a couple slices of compliments at the beginning, and then most likely, to my imagination, like 1,000 fucking slices of meat that weren't compliments with maybe a compliment at the end. I mean,
all these people that are like half my age that I want to be like when I grow up. It's incredible.
So what the hell are we looking at here?
From a book. I can't really see.
What is Creation Safaris?
What?
Okay, maybe I can find this book.
It's called,
It's called Evolution Possible or Impossible by James F. Coppage, PhD. Probability Research in Molecular Biology.
Let's go check them out on the Rational Wiki or wherever.
Searching.
We need a list of all these creationist foods. All the foods.
Is evolution possible? How is that a question?
Who is this food? He doesn't even have a bio anywhere that I can find. I don't know if this guy. Okay, let's see. I'd like to read this book on Kindle. I don't know what the fuck that is. Evolution Science. So he's in all the creationist sites. So I don't know who he is. Anybody heard of him?
Did you just say what's Kindle?
No. Well, I was reading Google, and somebody said I would like to read this book on Kindle. What the fuck? I don't know. Evolution Science, all about science. So I'm trying to find something on the book. Oh, he died in 2004. Uh-oh. Haha. I outlived the motherfucker. Whoever he is. Oh, let's see. Oh, maybe that ain't him.
What the hell is that noise?
Oh my God, he's a Christian leader. He was on a train of Christian leaders. Founder of Rangersan Christian Commandos and Valley Cathedral Youth. Is this him?
Yes, it is. Dr. Coppage earned 5 college degrees. He wrote an influential book, Evolution Possible or Impossible.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep going back. Otangelo, we don't accept any of your statistics anymore. I mean, unless you show us the exact paper and their methodology, because you were proven a week or so ago to just be an idiot, not reading the paper right. Now you're putting all these stats in there: 10 to the 45th power, 10 to the 722nd, 722,000th power. Like, why do you think anybody would accept your statistics anymore?
He was a Navy chaplain, minister, author, and scientist. He was born in Brownsville, Tennessee.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah, I know. Asbury Seminary. Let's see, where the fuck did he get his degree? In 1954, they founded the Valley Cathedral Youth Center so they could screw up children. Served the entire San Fernando Valley for 44 years. Served him what? Oh, let's see what else we got about him. Okay. So anyway, he died. Apparently he wasn't eternal.
Yeah.
But anyway, Otangelo posted this, and I'm not sure. Somewhere in here is his big number that where this David was able to calculate a number that nobody in the fucking world can calculate. Oh, here we have a list of the amino acids, and what are we going to do with that? We're going to do a little math on that.
I mean, do they like they write stuff up and then they've got like a dartboard in their office they throw darts at? It was 10 to the triple 20 power.
Oh, he's getting started here. He's going to multiply this 10 to the 52nd by, he's dividing it by 10 to the 106 to simplify it. What is he doing? I don't know what the hell he's doing. Anyway, usable proteins. Yeah, he just does the old protein fucking bullshit. You know, it's like, I can make big numbers too if I want. Now you're all quiet? What the fuck?
Well, we're not all quiet because somebody's like listening to the fucking TV or something in the background.
Danny's probably listening to his car radio.
No.
What are we listening to? Who's got a
That's not
TV on it? It's Leo.
Hey, Danny, since you're a dualist, do you believe in the soul?
Okay, wait a minute. On this channel, we say fucking duelist. Fucking
Okay.
duelist. Yeah, okay.
You're a friggin' dualist, right?
Yes.
Do you believe in the soul?
In the what? In the soul? No, I don't.
Okay, because I was going to start asking people that I know to be dualists, what does the soul do? And then how do you know it's the soul that's doing that? But
Yeah, I don't know what. I think it's very hard to make sense of the notion.
okay, I agree.
So whoever that sound was coming from must have muted or it must have stopped.
It's probably Leo listening to 2 programs at once. He does that all the time. He's got like 2 or 3 channels.
No, I still
going.
hear
Yeah,
it.
I still hear it. Hey, Leo, could you mute your mic while you're listening to something else?
Who just left? Oh, Danny left. Danny must have.
Oh, Danny boy.
I did not mean to offend him with that question.
No,
He's no longer a duelist. He's a nonist.
Speed. I'm sorry. I'm like fucking OCDing right now. Could you like systematically mute everybody one by one to find out where all that fucking noise is coming from?
Okay. Is it gone?
Yep.
Yep. Well, my best guess was Leo. So when Leo wants to talk again, he can unmute himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leo he gets distracted. He ends up watching another stream, and I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what's wrong with the boy. I don't know what's wrong. I've been
Everything.
Huh?
Everything.
Oh my God! If Midnight thinks everything's wrong with you, what does that really mean?
God, Midnight gets a lot of shit.
Yeah, I trust me, Speed. I know I get a lot of shit. I'm used to it. Fuck you, John. Love you, though.
Yeah, I deserve that wholeheartedly. I think
Anyway.
the only reason I do that to Midnight is because I met him on Drag's Discord, and everybody does him that over there.
Yeah. People.
I mean, so just because some people give me shit, you have to give me shit too.
Well, I'm joking, of course.
I know. Relax.
I don't know why they pick on you.
The other ones, it's their own business. John is John.
Just picked it up.
Yeah, Danny is an atheist duelist, and someday real soon we're going to talk about that.
Okay, how in the fuck does that make sense?
An atheist duelist?
Yes.
Just people that believe that the mind and whatever
Consciousness.
consciousness is something
Or
over and above.
the mind and the brain are two different things.
There's a number of different kinds of dualism. There's substance dualism, which is what Christians think, that there's an actual soul substance out there. And then there are neutral monists. Well, not a neutral monist. That wouldn't be a dualist. There are several varieties of dualism, and I think they all amount to humans being confused about their brain.
Yeah.
Like occasionally monkeys get confused about the fact that they can think about things and imagine things. My cats occasionally get confused about imagining things too. So I guess I got the problem. Simultaneously in the room and not in the room, just in different solutions to the wave function. Aha, Andrew. Atheism with meaning. Is that who is that? Which one of you is atheist with meaning?
What?
Oh, that's me. I just decided to declare that I have a meaningful life.
Okay. Yeah.
Thought it might.
Well, I mean, that goes against that. Don't you know that goes against the atheist creed? I mean, in order to be an atheist, you need to think that life is meaningless.
Well,
According to
on my behalf, I do take antidepressants, so maybe that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Okay, so if you are a conscious individual, well, and I guess some animals are conscious too, but like if you are aware of your consciousness and you're aware of your,
the devil is here,
and you're aware of your mortality and all that, isn't the mere fact that you can think and have ideas and think in the abstract, isn't that in and of itself meaningful? Okay, even if you're a person who walks around and convinces yourself all the time that life is meaningless, that's still a meaning. That you still have a meaning of life. Life means nothing. Like that's still meaning though. So I don't understand this. Life can't have meaning without eternal life. It makes no sense at all. Once you are conscious, once you can, think about your surroundings and think about, what can happen to you in life and what is happening to you in life and what you want to do in life, that's meaning right there.
Back in the 80s, I was in boot camp for the Navy. I was in the Navy Reserves. I never served active duty. And this one guy started going on and on that his life didn't have meaning. There was no meaning. And I tried to convince him. But then I realized exactly what you're saying, John. His meaning was he got purpose out of declaring how nihilistic and meaningless the world was. So
yeah. Hey, did Danny regress in age like several years since he was here?
I think so.
John, if you want, you can read the article.
I regressed in age. Did I look older in the other one? There's noise coming out of somewhere. Is this my phone?
So I mean, I don't know. Is it maybe the backwards hat that's like fooling me or something? This is the same Danny that was just on camera like 5 minutes ago, right?
Yeah, I'm a cute little boy.
Oh my god,
that's kind of creepy.
Am I violating something by?
Yeah, I had to change my icon.
That's my gender identity, though.
Yeah, I think you should change to your icon from I don't even remember what his name is now.
The creepy old man to
yeah, what the fuck?
Hubert or Herbert? Isn't that
Herbert?
Give me a second.
Or something?
Herbert. Yeah, Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody, if YouTube tuned in and Herbert was on the screen and Danny at the same time, they'd be like, nope, we're booting this off.
Yeah, I like this avatar. My insane clown posse avatar.
I thought you said Danny was like in his early 20s, Speed.
Late 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah, why do you look like you're 14?
CRISPR. Have you heard of CRISPR?
Yeah. He's got the secret, man.
It's called biohacking, right?
It's coconut cream.
That and prayer, right?
If you could do that kind of biohacking, you would not be in a room like that. You would be in a palace because you'd be able to make a lot of money.
Someone could have stolen my idea.
So if you could biohack, can you make Midnight not an albino anymore?
Yeah, come on over.
Why would anybody do that?
I mean, they did have some success with rats using CRISPR. So
I mean, Michael Jackson successfully turned himself into an.
Isn't CRISPR the god of like evolution?
Yeah, you kind of stopped on my joke there, dude. Michael Jackson successfully turned himself into an albino.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no, John. Please don't. Please, don't. Don't do that.
Don't
He didn't
disparage,
turn himself into albino.
don't disparage albinos by bringing
Yes.
up Michael Jackson.
What the fuck, man?
Oh,
It's bad enough. It's bad enough we get hunted in Africa. What the fuck are we like? What the fuck? I get hunted in streams too.
Albinos get hunted in Africa? What?
well, it's
Yeah,
easy
you
to
never
see.
fucking heard that?
It's
Albino
easy to see you against the dark theme. I kind of like that.
Well, I mean, Smokey did say I'm the best thing to happen to your channel.
Did he really?
Does he like Midnight?
What was that?
When Smokey said you're the best thing that happened to your channel, you have a good relationship with him?
Not really. He's just, he's just fun to talk to at times. Like the one time, I've only talked to him once in private.
Yeah, he's really fun, like oral surgery.
Yeah, it's
Fair enough.
It's Brenda.
I know. I have had.
That's what Brenda next to Otangelo.
Oh, Doubting Thomas, I miss you. Where the fuck have you been, Doubting Thomas? Hello, Brenda.
Hello, Brenda.
Hello, Brenda.
Good afternoon.
Brenda, have you ever met Otangelo?
Of course, several times.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I dare show this or not.
Okay, well, that's question.
I thought better of it. Forgive me.
Oh,
Put it
man,
back.
no reading that.
Trumpty Dumpty plums the wall.
I also know who Danny is. I've heard of him. He's some character on in the internet.
He's a character.
Brenda, my condolences on both counts.
Danny is no.
Does John still not like me? I don't know. I was curious.
Yeah, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't talk about you at all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's one of those things.
There was somebody that said they didn't like you, Danny. It was Will Kincaid.
Oh, I'm not surprised, right?
Oh, that's a badge of fucking honor, though, if Will doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Who's Will? I don't even know this person.
You don't know who Will
You were on a
Kincaid
stream
is?
with him the other night on Smokey's channel, I think, or some fucking place.
I think he's like a friend of me.
Oh no, I didn't like
Ronnie.
that guy. Oh, I didn't like that guy either.
I think he's funny.
He seemed like a memer or something. He was just like a
Yeah,
giant meme in the show.
He is a professional troll. He works at it. He practices. He just tries to piss everybody off. And he's fun. I think he's funny as hell. He reminds me of that character in Dead Man on Campus, and I can't get that out of my head. He's just crazy like that.
Yeah, I silenced him and talked down to him like I think twice, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
So, Steve, do you see Will Kincaid as some sort of performance artist?
Yeah, that's all he is. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he actually
A very douchey one, but yes.
practices.
Oh, you
this.
don't like him either?
Me?
Leo?
Not generally, no.
Okay, so
He's just
No,
kind of
another
an ass.
Well,
man's
okay.
douche is another man's performance artist.
if it's the case that he's a memer, then I actually like the fact that I anger him or if he doesn't like me means I'm probably doing something right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is once you get to know what's behind what Speed is referring to as his humor, he's a very hateful, horrible individual.
You don't get along with him, John?
I used to get along with him until he started really going off the deep end. Yeah.
Okay, John, you have never sent me that evidence yet. That will change my mind about Will Kincaid because I see him as a comedian or a performance artist.
Well, he's not. He's really not.
He's not.
Well, if that's
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm old like you are, so
yeah.
I'll get to it. I promise.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right, guys?
Get the walker out and walk over and get me that evidence.
Oh, Immutable's in the side chat. He came back from his walk from what? Probably Mexico.
Yeah, I think
All he does is walk.
Speed, your birthday is coming up?
Today, 70.
Oh, happy birthday. Are you in good health?
Yeah.
That's good to hear. So
Yeah, I'm. My belly is starting to get a little big during this COVID shit, but
yeah, I'll
other
be
than that-
fine.
And I got some blood sugar shit going on occasionally, but as an alcoholic,
You-
that's
you-
Do you eat well or exercise?
I try to, I try to eat well, but I have not been
No,
exercising.
but his raccoons do.
COVID.
His raccoons.
Yeah.
Does.
Hey Jerry, you're gonna have to elaborate on that because I have no idea what you're talking about. You just said to me, where is it?
Where did you see this?
I don't know. Like he's John. Oh, like you now. He saw your face. I don't know. Oh, he's get the fuck out of here, Jerry. What are you trying to say about me, man? I'm not the one who had the fucking Herbert fucking avatar earlier.
Maddox calls me Lord Voldemort. So
No,
I
it's
call
just,
him
I don't
Mad
even remember who said this, but it's just like, yeah, Danny's face looks exactly like what his voice sounds like. So it wasn't any real surprise. The surprise was that he looked so fucking young. Like, are you sure you like didn't like weren't in like 11th grade, chemistry class earlier today or something?
I was in 10th grade biology class. Does that count?
because you teach it, right?
Because you were teaching it. I mean, seriously, tell the truth, man.
I just told you the truth.
No, you didn't even hear my question yet. So how could you have told the truth yet?
Because you already asked a question.
Right, but I was prefacing the question by saying, tell the truth. Half of your students look older than you, don't they?
I mean, I think they're kind of young. They're like 14. I don't know.
All right. Well, half of them, all the boys in your class can grow a beard better than you.
Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah, you're welcome to the camp. I can't. It sucks.
Yeah. So it sucks. I'm glad I can't do any. I don't have.
Yeah, I can't really grow a beard either because I was when I was like about 3 or 4 years old. I reached up on the hot stove and pulled a fucking percolating pot of coffee onto my head.
Ooh, you're one of those kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the idea behind that?
A kid who didn't know what the fuck he was doing, and almost died over it. What was the point? So I said I was 3 or 4 years old and I did that. And Brenda's question is, what was the point? The point of that was the same thing that is the point that everything that a 3-year-old does.
I don't know. I'm going to show you a real man.
You are?
Yeah, real men grow beards.
Everybody look at me. I'm a real boy.
He's a real man.
How did you get in with these goofballs, Danny?
You're muted.
I don't know how it happened, Brenda. It is kind of a.
Yeah, I know.
But as you know, Brenda, Discord is like the tasteless show, and like it's just kind of boring now. To me, I don't know. Is that your view?
I think it's boring, and I think it's
yeah.
I have. I generally agree with your assessment of Tasteless. When people like him, I've found that recently I have less patience for that kind of bullshit.
Oh, I like him. I just don't think he should talk, or no one should talk to him.
Who are you talking about? I mean, that's what I mean. There's a person called Tasteless Opinion who runs in the Discords that Danny and I know about, who is a bloviator. I don't think terribly intelligent, to be perfectly honest, and just talks incessantly, thinks he's always right, and is just a complete waste of time to interact with.
Wait,
He's wasted days.
Are you guys just talking about Darth Dawkins? Because it sounds like
I'd rather listen to Darth.
Yeah, well, and it's so funny, but when Brenda was saying that about this other person, that's the image I got in my head was like a few weeks ago. I saw the Tom Rabbit video of the interaction of Darth and Brenda, which was fucking beautiful.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm having I'm having a little snack. I apologize for that. Tom Rabbit has interactions with Tasteless that you should definitely check out. So they can be hilarious, but the thing is that after a couple years or so, it just gets old.
Yeah. Well, like I said the other night, we were reviewing Tom CJ or SJ Thomason video and a Tom Rabbit video in which Darth appeared. And it's like I said, it's like he literally has performed the same script tens of thousands of times. You know, I mean, he's like a long 10-year long running Broadway play, you know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that.
Smallest protein has 11 amino acids.
There's actually a very, very small chance that come around Easter time, I might be debating SJ on the resurrection.
Oh, nice.
So Danny, what do you think about these people? Because they're very different than people like Jack and some of the others who are more focused on conceptual arguments and abstract arguments rather than these people here are more interested in evidentiary.
Like science stuff, right? Like creationism and design, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just they're very, like you said, it's just a very different category of approach. It's not but I enjoy them. I like the I'm actually more interested in all the relationships, right? And some of the psychology of some of these people too. Not these people in the room, but like the whole entire community. Like the psychological aspect and the relationship stuff is probably more of interest to me than like digging through.
Sort of like going to the freak show side of the carnival.
Well,
I commented. Danny was having a discussion, just him and Speed on the channel a few days ago, and in the live chat, I said, "Hey, do you think Danny ever just talks about mundane shit like the weather?"
Yeah.
And Leo immediately came back with, "What do you mean by weather?" And that would then I laughed my balls off because that would be like the response I would expect from Danny.
That's the right kind of response.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to that video about you two talking, and because I was interested in it.
Between who and me? Between who?
Me and Danny?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Soup of sound.
It should be soup of sound in my opinion.
Soup of sound. Well,
but Speed is very, very delightful to talk to.
Well, thank you.
I don't think he makes a lot of sense to me, and notice I put to me, but because I could just be misunderstanding.
I don't know, man. You say he doesn't make a lot of sense to you in that one-on-one conversation.
He doesn't make any sense at all, but he is.
Well, on Tangela, to be fair, you don't make any sense at all.
And to be fair, Tangela,
I don't expect that to say anything else about me.
Tangela, let me finish my sentence. You bitch about being interrupted all the time, and then here you go. But
that's the first thing Otangelo said, John.
Like, what's that?
That's the first thing Otangelo said, so, yeah.
Well, he waited until I was in the middle of a sentence to say it.
Okay, John's turn.
It's past the point now. My little shit wouldn't mean anything.
I'm sorry.
No, what I was saying is that you said you don't agree with a lot of what Speed says, but I thought that one-on-one conversation the other day, he was making some very good points and kind of like, refuting some of your comments.
Well, that might be the case, but I just didn't. I think that conversation needs to be further developed. But I enjoyed the conversation, though, right? But I think that what could happen between Speed and I is he can actually, and other people in this room. Maybe there's one person in this room that's probably not capable, but I think everyone in this room except this one person is actually capable of understanding me, with not agreeing with me, but understanding me.
That's always wonderful.
And that's nice, right? Like you could present an argument. I could present an argument. You understand it, and then reject it. I'm more interested in being understood than convincing people.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean, the things I disagree with you on is because on those things I disagree with you on, I do understand your argument and I disagree with it.
Well, I didn't really provide powerful arguments for dualism the other day. I just kind of messed around with this notion of aboutness and ofness, which I don't think is sufficient really for someone to be committed to non-naturalism. I think there was a third category. I think did you understand the whole like the whole idea of there only being if there's only one ontological category of like, let's just call it X.
Yep.
Right. That I think that is actually the only argument that I presented that might imply an issue for naturalism. The rest, I think, there might be good replies to.
Yeah, and that one's is something I thought about a little later, and I'm still worried about that one. We'll have to talk more about that.
Yeah, because we want to be informative when we say there's like a physical thing, not
right.
And so, but yeah, so that was like the only thing that I think would be very difficult to respond to.
I mean, because admittedly, there's, the volume of things that that I don't know is rather large. And so maybe I didn't pick up the correct idea of the conversation, but it seemed to me that where I was under the impression you were coming in to have that conversation because you had made the claim that naturalism can't be supported, it seemed to me you spent a good portion of the conversation saying things that supported naturalism.
I know.
Well, I think I just started the conversation. I feel like I started the conversation. Yeah. Ultimately, I think that if naturalism is true, now this is the claim. This is not an argument, right? I'm giving you a claim. So there's no reason to accept this. I'm just going to give you the claim. I'm going to have to say this like 3 times. I think if naturalism is true, there's no such thing as beliefs, right? So there's no such thing as holding to naturalism, on my view, right? Now I have to provide very clever arguments for that, right? It's not sufficient for me just to say that and then appeal to, well, look at this weird word called aboutness and upness. Well, I can't just do that, right? There has to be a good amount of time dedicated to that argument that supports the claim that if naturalism is true, you can't even believe in naturalism, right? So that's why I think it's what I meant by indefensible. Yeah, there's like all these peripheral arguments, but I think literally, if naturalism is true, like there's no such thing as subjects, there's no such thing as beliefs and desires.
Okay, so now, hold on, real quick. Okay, so now you've said that 3 times now. Now give me the argument that attempts to substantiate.
Oh, that's going to be a big one, John.
Well, because here's the thing, I don't accept that premise. I don't accept that claim that if naturalism is true, there's no such thing as beliefs. I mean, I think you got to go a long way around the corner to even make it that a plausible.
It is a lot of work to show, right? Yeah. So it requires time.
Dumb, stupid.
But I don't blame you because it doesn't. I mean, now when I think about it, because I've thought about it so much, it just my intuitions have come in line with that claim. So to me, it just seems like, oh well, that would make sense. But people that I don't think that people that are naturalists would look at that claim and even find it intuitive, right? So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done to support that claim. I don't know if we want to do it here. I mean, I could provide a syllogism, but there are terms that need to be developed.
Just give me a bare bones simple syllogism right now.
Okay, something like this, right? Do you know what intentional states are? Those are beliefs or desires. What I mean by intentional states are beliefs and desires, okay? So the syllogism goes like this, right? Let's see if I can put it in a valid form. Okay, it's going to be something like intentional states are normative states. Normative states create the possibility of failure or success, and that's one of the syllogisms. And then I'm going to put everything else in narrative form, but the idea is that normative states, all descriptive states underdetermine the truth of normative states, right? So you can't appeal to descriptive states to substantiate normative states, which is to say that descriptive states can't affirm normative states, which means that they can't affirm intentional states, given the first premise of the syllogism I gave. And so intentional states are not descriptive. Natural states are descriptive, and so intentional states are not natural states.
Yeah,
Well,
I have that. I put it this right here in that link here. So if you guys want
hold on. This was something to me and we're talking. Just let me finish real quick, and I'll shut up, Otangelo, and you can. I won't talk the rest of the
Yeah,
show.
we got to let Otangelo talk.
Yeah. So look, and this is kind of said tongue in cheek, but like the description you just gave, the syllogism with some narrative points afterward. I feel like every point you named that you verbalized there needs its own syllogism to back it up.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? It's a multi-layered. I don't blame you, right? I don't blame the way you feel right now. I totally get it, because when I first heard that argument, I did not. It took me about a year to understand everything. But I think that because I struggled with it so much, I think I could at least get someone to understand what's going on within a good conversation. I think like an hour or two.
I do not understand it. You should write that particular piece up and send it to me so I have a written copy so I can take a look at it. And then we're going to have our talk about fucking dualism.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to have that on paper too as well, Speed, when he sends it to you. If you need me a copy.
I'll work on it tomorrow. That way.
Can I ask Randy a quick question?
Who is this? That was Doc? Okay.
Scott, yeah. You said there were two things that were intentional?
Yeah, beliefs and desires.
Okay, how is a belief intentional in your view?
Well, okay, so yeah, this is a good question because this comes with the there's technical terms in philosophy that are not used colloquially. Intentional and intentional states are two different meanings, right? So it's true that when we say something's intentional, we're talking about a desire colloquially, but we should differentiate the word intentional and intentional states. Okay, so it's true. Many people would differentiate a desire and a belief, or an intention and a belief, but both of these categories are considered intentional states, right? Does that answer your question? So you're right. We want to say that desires are a different kind of belief than just belief simpliciter, right? If I desire water, that's a kind of belief that I have, right? That's a belief.
Okay, I'm going to try to paraphrase, and I may fail at this. But are you just meaning that a belief motivates intentions in the colloquial sense? That if I have a belief, then that's going to pretty much prescribe what I do based on that belief?
There's actually something very close to what I was saying in general. I wonder how it pertains to your previous question, but the idea of a belief is that it's under my view, right? This is not a common view, okay? It's a kind of commitment, right? So if I believe that it's raining outside, I'm committed to that truth, okay? And it kind of acts as a prescription in the sense that if I'm committed to the proposition that it's raining outside, I think it's true, I believe it's true, then I ought not believe the negation of that belief. So if I'm committed to X, I ought not be committed to not X. Okay, so there's a kind of like, that's what makes it, I think, really, really different from, ultimately different from many other kinds of states. Desires work similarly, right? That if I desire X, right, well, it gets a little bit trickier. So the point is that I want to say that there's a difference between a belief and a desire. I take desires to be a subset of belief, but so not all beliefs are desires, but all desires are beliefs.
Okay.
Right, so,
well, I'll ponder that some more. You've already got me stroking my beard, probably. So,
Otangelo wanted to talk.
I just really quickly. I didn't know it was your birthday today, Speed. Thanks for letting everybody know.
Yeah, he told me.
He didn't tell me.
Well, I was on Dapper's channel last night when I turned 70, which is kind of cool.
Wait, so your birthday was yesterday?
No, today.
Well, then
I was on Dapper's channel at midnight. So.
Wait, what?
I was on Dapper's channel at midnight Central Time.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Which you don't deserve because you didn't even tell me it was your birthday.
Yeah, well.
Wait, is no, Tangelo kind of posted my argument, but
right here?
Yeah, something like that. I think there needs to be a little bit more work. And this is an argument I gave a while ago, but there needs to be a connection between the second premise and the third premise, and I would do that in the sense that goodness is understood in terms of failure and success, right? So the idea is that normative states create the possibility of failure and success, right? So goodness does the same. So if it's something is good, there's something that can be a failure with respect to that, right? That it's not actualized. But where did you get that argument, Artangelo?
Oh, I don't know. I captured it and just I have here an entire site just of syllogisms. I can put the link here so you guys can look it up.
Yeah, I would definitely reject the first premise of that argument.
You got a long way before those kinds of arguments even make sense to this naturalist. So
yeah, no, it's true. You reject the first premise, Leo?
Yes.
I don't know. Is that first premise though the way you exactly?
Yeah, well, that's another way of saying it, right? The idea I started with intentional states as beliefs and desires. Now, most people don't disagree that minds have intentional states. Right?
I believe that minds have them, but they're not made up of them. They're not composed of them. They're an aspect of having a mind. You have to have a mind before you can have intentional states, rather than having intentional states and that they make up a mind.
It's true that there are other mental states of a mind, right? Like qualitative states are not intentional states, but they're mental states. So the way, like what Black, the sensations or the feelings, the what it's like to experience something. That's not intentional.
Is that sort of making a distinction between our phenomenological experience of something and what the thing actually is? Because I do think that there is a difference between those two things.
Definitely, there's a difference. Yeah, I am a Kantian that's very Kantian what you just said, right?
I have put that in the category of arguments from logic. I have a second one here. I can read it. Logical absolutes exist. Logical absolutes are conceptual by nature.
Wait. Go back up. But wait, mines are wait. November 30th? Oh my gosh. I think these are my words. Because that's when I think I called in, I gave this argument to Matt Dillahunty. I called into his show, I think around that time. Let me check.
Yeah, I think you were a pretty sharp guy, and I just captured that one and stored it at my library.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah,
this is pretty fucking spooky.
Danny, remember you were asking me if I didn't like you, still didn't like you? I mean,
yeah, none of us like you now.
Yeah.
When you talk about dualism, what do you mean?
I mean that the world is divided between the normative and the descriptive, or the right. That's kind of what I mean. But there's a difference between how the world should be and how the world is another way of saying that, right? And I think our minds express how the world should be, but don't describe how the world is. Right?
That's not the usual way. That's not the usual way.
Right. It's not substance dualism. So substance dualist. Because I reject substance dualism. That's the tradition. Like most theologians, most philosophers of religion or Christians understand substance dualism. And I think that what substance dualism needs is a notion called bare particulars. And I can't make sense of bare particulars. I don't know. I think that there's a huge problem with bare particulars. So I don't think there's like a physical substance or a mental substance like Descartes would be would posit or something.
Can you define what bare particulars are? Because I believe William Lane Craig used that term before, and I do not.
He uses that? Okay. Well,
I think I've heard him use it.
Okay, I haven't heard. You could be right. I just don't remember. But it's something like the thing that grounds an object's properties or kind of holds on to an object's properties. So, like, there's a lot of theories, but let's just take two competing ones in metaphysics. There's like if we take an apple, right? There's all these properties of an apple. Right? There's the property that it's red, there's the property that has seeds, all these predications we can make of the apple. Now, a bundle theorist is going to say what that apple is just kind of bundling those things together in a kind of almost like in a kind of conceptual manner, right? Whereas someone that accepts substance theory might employ something called bare particulars, which is a separate ontological category that, quote unquote, holds on to the properties. Okay. So there's a kind of bare particular that holds on to mental properties. So there's that's the substance of, all right. And then there's like a bare particular that holds on to physical properties, right? Now, the problem that I have, just a really cursory response, is that I don't know how to differentiate nothing in a bare particular that holds no properties.
And that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Right? I don't know what the difference is. Right? So, like, if I were to take out the bare
Time's
particular,
up.
yeah. I actually, I'm glad
he's just kidding. He's just kidding.
No, I think I was about to repeat myself. So.
No, dude, I was just because I heard that bell wherever that bell came from.
Yeah, sometimes I do that, but yeah. So I don't really accept. But not all. No, I will say that not all substance theorists accept bare particulars.
Yeah.
There are some people that are substance theorists that don't like. I don't think Descartes accepted bare particulars, right?
I don't think I would either.
He doesn't really accept anything anymore.
Yeah.
Fucking John.
Would yeah, that's a counterfactual. But
so real quick, I'm sorry, I just want to comment on something that Jerry that Speed just shared. That Jerry said in answer to your question, Jerry. Yes, Otangelo is a plagiarist. He's just not a very good one because he often misunderstands and misrepresents the things he's plagiarizing.
Coming at you hot, Odie.
Anyway, sorry, Danny. Go ahead.
No, there's nothing. I was not saying. I wasn't saying.
Molecular alchemy is here.
Okay.
Roll out.
So Otangelo was going to say something, so we rolled over him a couple of times.
He didn't. He did have a question, right? Did you have a?
Yes, Danny. What are you a believer? Are you an atheist? What is your position?
Yeah, I lean very heavily, philosophically speaking, to atheism. I'm very sympathetic, philosophically speaking, to atheism. But my intuitions, my desire leans with theism. So
that's interesting. I've never heard someone say that.
Yeah.
I would say that my desire is that there is a God. I think that would be way better than there not being one. I'm just not convinced that there is one, and in fact, I'm convinced that there most likely isn't. See, for me, atheism isn't what I desire; it's what I feel is the most likely case. I would rather there be a God. Just don't think that there is.
Holy shit! Molecular alchemy had the Rona.
So, you know what this means, Otangelo, is that Leo's suppressing his knowledge of God.
Yes, I want to sin really hard.
Me too.
He's suppressing the truth.
Look, the only God that ever existed was Wilt Chamberlain.
It's Amelia Clark.
It's Wilt Chamberlain, and I will not elucidate why I think that.
No, God
like,
exists,
honestly, Otangelo, I look at DNA and I'm marveled at it as well. In a way where, like, I wish, like, I'm like, oh, are you sure this is not design? But, like, I just don't think that ID theory is something that can be something that one ought be committed to given their, like, it's something that I only really makes sense in terms of your priors, right? So if you already have, like, some strong prior background beliefs about, you know, evolution or God or Christianity or whatever, right? I think that really just you know, really influences your views on, like, what's been designed and what's not.
Yes, I agree with you because we have all presuppositions, and based on those, we try to fit what we see as evidence in the natural world to what we want to be true. That's usually we are all biased in a certain way and up to a certain point.
Yeah, but I'm actually saying something even more sympathetic to your case. I'm saying something like, for a person that looks at DNA or even atoms or the trees or whatever and says, "Wow,
look at
this really seems designed," but doesn't really make an inference that it's designed and then still believes that it's designed, I don't think there's anything particularly irrational. I think my problem is that when they say that other people ought to be committed to the same thing, right?
I think you made another very interesting point here. I think that when we look at nature, we don't even need to make a logical inference to design. It just screams out of design, and it is overwhelming.
Yeah, screams out is an interesting word there, but I'm just saying that I could see the intuition. All right, I really do have that intuition. I just think that what my intuition is kind of question begging the person that's looking at it like, wow, look at what nature produced, right?
So if it looks designed, why is it not designed?
Well, I don't make that claim that it's not designed. And I mean, I just make the claim that it's not. If you are positing an intentional explanation, it's not going to be something that science is going to confirm or disconfirm, right? It's
Why
just
not? Science gives the evidence, and from there on, you can make a philosophical inference to the best explanation of given evidence.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways. So I guess like the point is that we don't consider. Okay, if you think of an intention itself, right? An intention is very weird because there's a state. There could be a state of failure or success with respect to it. Okay, so let me just give you this is what makes it I think unfalsifiable ultimately, and this actually applies to not just God's intentions but to any intention, right? So here's the cool thing about intentions is that if I had the desire, right, to drink this glass of water, right, and you wanted to test that whether I had that desire or something, right? If there was water, if you came in my room an hour later and you saw a glass full of water, it had not been drunk, that wouldn't falsify my desire to drink water. I could have just failed with respect to it, right? I could have desired water, but like I don't know, I had a stroke and I didn't make it I didn't complete that desire, right? I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's all sorts of ways to fail, as you know, right? So the observation that there's water in the glass is consistent with me not having the desire. It's also consistent with me having the desire and failing, right? And that's the problem, right? That intentions are not so straightforwardly falsified because there's always the possibility of failure with respect to that desire. Now, God presents a significantly complex case because this is a God that cannot fail, right? And I think that there is. So, what would it mean to say that there's some desire, right? But it's impossible that there's failure. And I think that this is the crux of the issue, right? That I don't think that makes sense, right? I think that if you have a desire that creates the possibility of success or failure, but if God can't fail and he only succeeds, then what a desire would mean is that there's just success of the object of the desire.
Well, this
you try to understand.
Hold on. I jumped in there first, Danny. So what you're saying is in your mind, a God could not have intentions or desires.
If they a thing that cannot fail cannot have beliefs or desires.
Okay.
Right, because what a desire is something that does not meaningfully confirm success, right, or failure, right?
Well,
it's either.
I would agree.
Right?
I think that's almost inherent to what a desire is that neither success nor failure is inherently what's what I'm looking for. It's really inherent to it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's not built into it's that success is. It's not entailed that necessarily there's success or failure if it's true that there's a desire. And belief works the same way, right? So there's a problem with omniscience as well. If I believe that it's raining outside, it doesn't mean it's true that it's raining outside. But in the case of God, if God is omniscient and he believes that it's raining outside, that's no more meaningful than saying it's just true that it's raining outside. So in what sense is it a belief?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, first of all, we don't understand. I don't understand fully the mind of God. You don't. We all can't, because God is superior to us. But secondly, I think God, for example, he can have and has the desire that we are all saved, but many will not be saved. So is he failing? No, because there is another desire of him to have free creatures which can make up their mind and freely choose what they want.
Can I ask
there are three things that I could respond there.
Can I ask you a question about that, though? I'm sorry. But so if you say that God desires us all to be saved, but didn't God know before any being came into before he created any being, what the outcome of their life was going to be because of the fact that he's omniscient? So how could he desire everyone to be saved when he knows already for a fact which ones aren't going to be saved?
Well, the thing, John, is that God didn't want to create robots which all would exactly behave as he wants in order to save them. He made free agents and knew that some would freely choose.
Right, and I understand that. I've heard you make that argument before, but that's not answering my question. What I'm asking you is you made the claim God desires all of us to be saved. And I'm asking you, how could he have that desire, not only given what Danny had said over the last few minutes, but how could he have that desire when he knows before you, Otangelo, were born, or before I was born, all of us were born, he knows that which one of us are not going to be saved. He knows who's going to be saved and who's not going to be saved.
Well, because it is not possible that you create free agents which all will choose
never mind.
according.
He's not going to answer my question. Go ahead, Danny.
I am answering
Well,
your
in defense of
question.
Otangelo, there's a view called Molinism that somewhat is satisfactory with respect to your question, right? I don't know if Otangelo, are you a Molinist?
Well, I know what Molinism is, but I mean this is a philosophical issue which we cannot. I cannot confirm if God acts that way, you know. So I know the philosophy behind it, but I cannot say I'm in favor of it or not. I prefer more to be agnostic to it.
Agnostic to Molinism? Sorry, I'm not understanding.
Well, with Molinism, you mean that God knows, like for example, there is someone that never heard the gospel. And then the question is, can that person be saved? And Craig brings that up with Molinism and says, well, but maybe God has middle knowledge.
Yeah, that's what it's
middle
called.
knowledge. Yeah. So he knows how that person would have responded to his calling if he could have heard the gospel. And based on that middle knowledge, that person eventually is saved or not. That is a philosophical
something
theory
like that.
Which,
it's not.
Yeah.
It's just the idea that. I guess another way of understanding it is that your decision is logically prior to God's knowledge. That's another way of understanding it. So the idea is that God knows you will do X necessarily because he's omniscient, right? Now, what explains that desire? That belief. The Calvinist is going to say that because there's some kind of deterministic factor, right? That God determines or elects a set of people. And that sort of explains why those people are saved rather than not saved. And God has access to that kind of mechanism because he is the mechanism. So God knows that you will be saved. But in the case of middle knowledge, it's something like God knows what you would do with your freedom, right? Given
exactly.
Right. And so if you had chosen otherwise, he would have had different knowledge than he did in the actual world. In the case, so the actual world would be something like you chose to accept Christ, and then there's some other possible world where you don't. Well, if you didn't, God would just have, out of your own volition, you chose to reject Christ. Well, God would have different knowledge in that world, right? It's not like there's like a kind of deterministic factor between God's belief about what you're going to do and you doing it. Rather, it kind of goes in the other direction, that God has given you something like a libertarian free will.
So can I ask a question before we go on too much further? So Danny, what you're saying is that, and I understand the logic of it. And, from a philosophical point, you're saying that, yes, God knows what you will do, but what he knows about what you will do is determined by what you did.
Right. That's exactly it.
Okay,
that's Molinism.
Yeah, and so, but still, and then from that idea, if you could, or if you want to attempt it, is from because I think you're attempting to give an answer somewhat
to your question, right? Your question is about desire, right?
Right. So, what would be is that a direct answer that
No, it's not direct.
Okay.
It's part of one of the necessary conditions, I think, to make sense of your question. Right now, I think that your question ultimately is a big problem. Okay, but the what they're ultimately going to say is that God desired that you were saved, right? Like you, John, right? He desired that you were saved. He set up the world in which he gave you some kind of opportunity, but it just simply was not up to God, right? That, and I think William Engel uses the term feasibility, right? Or metaphysically impossible or something like that, that he could set up the world in which you freely chose to accept him. So it's so we want to also distinguish failure and blame. You can fail with respect to something, but not be blamed. So they might say, and I've heard Christians say this, right, that God can fail with respect to these cases, but he's not blameworthy. Okay. Now that is gonna be contingent upon whether you make sense of this notion of God, of these kind of conditions not, or these kind of outcomes not being up to God, because I think there's going to be an issue about whether it's logically impossible. Because I think that what they ultimately say is that they'll ultimately admit. I think if you really push them, they're going to admit that it was logically possible that God could have set up the world in which everyone came to be a Christian, but it just wasn't feasible for God, right? And honestly, I don't know what the hell they're saying when they're saying that, right? But that's, I think, the ultimate. If you put Craig in the smallest philosophical corner in the world, he will say something, admit to this, right? He'll say, just it was logically possible, wasn't feasible for God. It wasn't up to God, and we don't know why.
I'm flabbergasted by that. William Lane Craig has actually said the phrase, a phrase that intimated that something was not feasible for God.
Right. He's going to tie feasibility to metaphysical possibility. Right. And this is a notion of possibility that is not commonly employed by philosophers, except some really famous ones have used it. Right. Like Kripke and Putnam think that water is metaphysically necessary, that water is H2O. That's a kind of metaphysical. The essentialism, right, it requires this kind of weird metaphysical possibility. So actually, there are some metaphysicians that employ it, but they're kind of the weird, like, essentialism types, like Kripke and
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it
before you ask the question, though, can I comment on what he just said? Because from my experience, I've heard apologists talk about things that are not feasible for God, but they've always tied it to logic. And I believe you said that he was talking about logic there. It would be logical where he could have created a universe where everybody's a Christian, but it wasn't feasible.
Right.
Anytime I've ever heard any other apologists talk about things that are not feasible for God to do, it's always
outside of logic, right?
Right, outside of logic, exactly.
Right, yeah. But I think that this argument, that this question that you have, will push them to this conclusion. But
right.
I think that's where the conversation ends, though, right? It's logically possible, but it's just simply not up to God that kind of world would actualize. And that's the end of it for me, really.
God.
If they admit that, then it's still possible that everyone could be a Christian.
Can I ask my question now?
Yeah.
Why do they call them metaphysicians and not metaphysicists when it's metaphysics and not metaphysiology?
What did I say? Did I say the wrong term there?
No, because I think the term is metaphysician. But I've always wondered why the term is metaphysician when we call it metaphysics and not metaphysiology.
I have an answer. Actually, I have I read about that. Let me.
And this is actually like a serious question. I'm not.
No,
trying
I
to,
have the answer for you. Let me go get it. It's in a book, and I forgot what the book said about it.
I'm sure it's probably, I don't know if it'd be etymological or not, but I'm sure it has something to do with the etymology of the word.
Well, I mean, Smokey's here. Maybe he could answer in the live chat. I mean, he's the most philosophically
Smokey's here?
erudite person I've ever met in my life. So,
okay, I have the book. This is actually
not
Smokey.
Yeah, Smokey is hairy penis. Praise God.
Yeah, I don't think that's
when he first got here. He had his actual name up, Smokey saying, and then he changed it.
Whatever.
Hey, Danny, don't run off after you describe that.
I found the book. I just got to find the page, and it attempts to answer why there's that linguistic distinction, or why they chose one word over another. Let me find it. I remember I didn't commit it to memory because I just, I'm like, okay.
Well, the thing is that there are some people like Smokey and John Maddox and others, they're just not capable of talking to other people. They're just not able to.
Somebody just disappeared. Who disappeared?
Leo did.
Oh, that he'll be back then. That's probably just the internet again. You know what? Actually, let me correct myself here. I think maybe Harry Penis, praise God, is not Smokey Sock, because he is using the picture of him that's going around that got taken from.
Yeah, we don't know who he is.
Yeah, I can't remember whose stream he was on, where he was on camera.
I just find some of these like this meta stuff really uninteresting.
So did Danny ever get that book? Is he still looking?
I have
for
it right here.
Okay.
I just gotta. It's in chapter 1, and I'm scanning.
Oh, okay, awesome. Because I've always wondered that. Like, why do we not call them metaphysicists?
Okay, I found when he first uses the word metaphysician, and he explains it.
Harry Penis, praise God, usually has better material than today.
Well, why you
Just having an off day.
Who he is?
I don't know who he is, but sometimes he said some amusing things. So
Harry Penis, is that you? Fuck, I can't. Maynard, is that you?
they could be Maynard. I don't know. Anyway, but he usually has better material. He's having an off day. Anyway,
Smokey was actually here,
judgy.
though. He made one comment like about a half hour ago.
Smokey did?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it again.
Oh, I didn't fucking block him. Fuck, god damn it! What am I
Okay,
doing?
look, I found it, Leo. Okay, wow, it was a footnote. I cannot believe I read this footnote because I remember. I'm like, oh, I wonder why. Okay, this is Peter Van Wagen's answer. The practitioner of metaphysics is called metaphysician and not, as one might expect, a metaphysicist. This is because the word metaphysician and physician already existed. Okay. Meant what they mean today. When people first began to feel a need for a special word for those scientists we today called physicists, the best word would have been physician, but that was already taken. So the word physicist wasn't therefore invented, but too late. Yeah, so that the word physicist didn't seem to have existed when the term metaphysician came.
That makes. I figured it would probably be an etymological reason, and yet it is.
I'm hunting Smokey.
I can't believe I remembered that he answered that. That was a long time ago too, and I found you exactly which book it was, and that was a footnote too.
Are you an autodidact?
No. Well, no. A lot of people. I learn best through conversation and people that are more informed to instruct me. That's my best method of learning. So I guess I don't know, but I seek people that teach me things.
Yeah, Smokey Saint had commented at 4:13, which would have been 3:13 for you, where you're at, and he said, "Leo, you coming to content court tonight?
Are you going to suck Smokey dick tonight?"
Leo,
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah, he said, "Leo, you coming to content court tonight?"
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. But
I didn't know what it meant either. I was hoping you'd be able to tell us, Leo.
I don't fucking know.
It's most likely just some circle jerk with Smokey and his buddies.
Smokey's busy with real women. With a real woman, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that silicon and plastic count as real women. You know, if you have to blow it up or assemble it, it's not a real.
Well, I figured out what it means because I searched his name to see if he's in. He's got something scheduled for tonight called Content Court Law and Order VON. Another epic live stream crossover event. Will Kincaid and.
Oh my God! What the fuck? I don't know. I find it kind of boring, some of this stuff. Well, maybe I'm irritated by the cackle. The cackle just...
there's that. If you have headphones, it can hurt your ears.
I know. The cackle is just like... It keeps reminding me of Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West. I can't get that image out of my mind. And sometimes... And the cackle is so over the fucking top and like it doesn't seem properly applied, you know, or it seems like way too much cackling for what was said.
Yeah, like the day he was doing his stream, trying to justify the horrible things he was saying about Knock and Knock's family. He was making all these horrible points and just laughing. Doing that laugh after everything he made. It
didn't make any. It just seemed over. It seemed like it was being forced.
Yeah, it was very cringy.
And then I started. What the fuck are you doing exactly? I don't know.
You know the one creation
Peterson would get. Wait a minute. that moved on me. Wait a minute.
Donkey
If
brains,
Peterson would get
determinism.
Dr. Paul stuck out his mouth and talk more, I'd have more Nat material.
Yeah.
And
then,
because I'm silent. I never talk. I never say anything.
you're
You
a
wanna know-
predetermined monist.
I don't think anybody can hear me.
I can hear you.
we-
We just don't care.
You want to know the one creationist whose laugh? I don't know if I've ever actually heard them laugh. Nephilim free.
You never heard him laugh?
Nope. I've
He
never
doesn't
heard him laugh.
Yeah, he doesn't laugh a lot, does
He,
he?
he seems like a robot to me.
He's kind of sad.
A whistling robot. Whistling Willy.
Okay, I've been wanting to ask Danny this question, just as kind of a pause before the conversation continues. Danny,
Yeah,
you say you're an agnostic dualist leaning towards atheism. Is that accurate?
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's not a substance dualist.
Yeah,
Okay.
not a substitualist.
Do you feel that there is meaning in your life?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have things that give you joy in your life?
Yes.
Okay, so when an evangelical comes along and tries to tell you that you don't have meaning in your life, does
I know
How
what
does
I
that
would
make
say,
you
and a lot of
feel?
people hate this question, but I would ask, what do they mean by meaning?
well, yeah, of course. And like, what's the difference between ultimate meaning and meaning?
And to avoid that, because that usually triggers people, and if it doesn't trigger them, it actually kind of, it's a hard question anyways. Like I could trip on, but I would just say, look, what you're telling me is that there's no meaning outside of human beings or creatures, right? And the first thing is that I only really construe meaning. I have two usages for the word meaning. Okay, number one, meaning with respect to logical truths or what follows from what. So if it's raining outside, that means that there's water outside, right? That's a kind of meaning, right? When we talk about deduction, that's meaning, right? And then there's like another usage of the word meaning, which kind of refers to significance or importance, right? Now, I actually think that I have a very weird view that I think there is value in the world independent of minds. So I actually think that there is meaning in a non-intentional meaning, right, or non-intentional value. But it's a very, very nuanced position, and it has holes in it, I'll admit. Okay, but bracketing that, they're not going to be interested in that. The idea is that they're not referring to the first one, right? Because you can accept deduction, you can accept meaning between different kinds of, logical connectives and that kind of stuff. They're not talking about that. They're talking about importance, right? And the thing is that I don't see what it would mean, right? Logically speaking, to say that something is important without someone thinking or believing that it's important, right? So there's like it's a two-way street here, right? If God is important, right, you have to recognize the importance, right? And so there's still a kind of subjective aspect to it, right? That if I find meaningfulness in my religion or meaningfulness in Jesus or significance to my existence, and I have to, there's a kind of subjective aspect to that, right? And I think that exists whether there is a religion or there isn't, right? That there's the simplest things, like I find cakes valuable to me. I love cakes, right? They're important to me. If there were no more cakes, no more desserts, I would be missing out, right? Now, but then I'll give them, right, that the idea that if there was this kind of God or a disembodied mind that was going to secure a pleasurable afterlife amongst his presence, right, that would be a great significance to me, right? And it varies from person to person, though, right? Some people, it's ironic, right, that there are a lot of Christians that recognize a sort of truth, but it means very little to them, right? It's like a Sunday thing for them, right? And they care more about what happens the other 6 days, right? So just because, God exists, or there might be some true religion out there, doesn't even establish, right, that that's going to be suddenly the most meaningful or most significant or important thing. And then they're going to have to make a further claim, right, at that, right, that it should be the most important thing in one's life. These big questions about whether there's a God or whether what I should do with my life, that kind of stuff. And that requires an argument, right?
Well, you have to see it
Say,
from
guys,
two
hold before you guys go on. I have a 5 o'clock meeting with Demeter, private, and so I can let you guys just run. And I can kind of keep an eye on this thing. But I gotta bail.
About 4 o'clock for you.
It's now 4 Central Time.
Oh, it's 4 Central, 5 Eastern, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, the only other thing I was going to bring up with Danny is that, so let's say you feel this sense of meaning and fulfillment, and then you're walking along and somebody tries to convince you that you don't really have meaning and purpose, and basically tries to turn that around, make you feel miserable, make you feel empty. And maybe they have that conversation with you once, and you say, "No, I'm fine. I have meaning and purpose in my life. I don't feel like I need what you're saying." And you go on, but then they keep on and on and on and on. How do you feel about that?
I don't get it. I'm not that so much bothered, because it might be true that if such things existed, if like Christianity were true, that I would have a better life. Some people don't function that way, though. The point is that it is true that I think this is why I'm not an anti-theist, right? I think some people derive a lot of meaning, right, from all various things, and without them they would be less happy. And I think religion could be just one of those things, like video games or football or family or children, whatever, right? And I don't see why there probably are agents that would have a better life, right, despite believing false things. If it were false, right, let's just grant that it's false. That's not the point. So I mean, that's how I see it. Like, it could be that they're the kind of person that if they lost their Christianity, if they lost their Islam, or they lost their religion, that they would be very depressed and kind of lost in the world, right? And I don't really seek to diminish that reality, right? I would just tell them looks like I'm not that type of person, right?
Yeah. In other words, I'm not interested in that for me. Maybe it's good for you, and maybe it's good for other people.
You should watch a debate that I think William Lane Craig loses, and it mentions this, right? You don't even have to watch the whole thing.
Who was it with?
Shelley Kagan. Okay, I think he loses this.
Oh
debate.
yeah. That's
Shelley Kagan goes over this notion of meaning and morality outside of God, and I think makes really good points. He called out Shelley. I think
is it EY or just Y?
SH.
See if you can.
Well, yeah, but is it EY at the end or just Y?
SHELLY.
That's right.
KA. It's KAGAN.
Yeah, he's a Harvard University professor that focuses on moral issues, right, and like stuff like this, right? And he says all you mean by this kind of ultimate meaning is like maybe like cosmic meaning, and sure, like that might be nice, but I don't see why, like it would mean that like I have no meaning if there's no cosmic meaning, right? That's what I think. That's the term he used, right? Craig, you're just talking about cosmic meaning. Yeah, I don't believe in that, but so what, right? Why is my life any less meaningful? The fact that there's no cosmic meaning.
I also think he lost his debate with Peter Milliken, and that he lost his debate with Sean Carroll. But most of his other debates, I think
I haven't seen the
performed
Peter
very well.
Peter what?
I'm not familiar with that one either. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a good one. His debate with Peter Milliken. I think Craig performs well in all of his debates. I just don't think he wins all of them like some of his ardent supporters do. Like I did when I was.
He definitely wins some of them. He is a
He's a very, very skilled debater.
Yeah, Craig is talented.
Very,
Craig
very
is talented. But I think he also loses against Stephen Law.
I don't know if I saw that one.
That one is Stephen Law presents a novel argument, one that he came up with called Pandora's Box, to the response. It's this response to skeptical theism, which is a response to the evidential problem of evil. So there are two problems of evil. There's logical and evidential. And one of the responses to the evidential problem of evil is saying that something like we just don't have access to God's reasons for why we perceive these things as evil, or why there might be this amount of evil or whatever. And law responds with something called Pandora's box, right? And that basically it's an argument that demonstrates that if you employ that kind of reasoning or that kind of response, you can't know anything, right? That's called global skepticism.
What was the subject of that particular debate?
I forgot.
Evil.
I think Stupid Horror Energy has some links. I think that the one with Stephen Law is really quite old, if I remember correctly. It goes way back. Way back.
I thought it was 2012.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. October 2011. 2011. That's when he talked to Law.
Well, of his
I think there were multiple debates, but they're like, this is. I remember them. Wait, let me see. Yeah, it was 2011. It was anyway. I think Law did a very good job, with respect to his novel argument. Stephen Law is an atheist you should look up to, and he's not a crazy dualist like me. So he's actually he's very epistemically.
You are a crazy. Yeah. You are a crazy dualist. I've talked to Danny about the dualism, and I have a really hard time wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, but so they're like.
But we're okay. We're okay. It's okay.
We always are okay at the end. But
I love you, Danny.
Danny is that crazy but lovable dualist every little town has.
Yeah.
Walking down the street.
Where the fuck is Immutable when I need him?
Well, why do you need Immutable?
Because he's got the keys to the channel and he could run this thing. Well, because Leo keeps popping in and out, and if I end up talking to Demeter, I'm not going to be paying attention. So,
well, I think I'm going to bow out just because you're trying to leave.
Yeah, but watch that debate. Watch the Kelly. You can. I think skip.
Maybe
you can find his cosmic meaning stuff in the when they're having the conversation. I don't remember if they give opening statements and stuff. You can skip all of that if you have no time. Just get the back and forth conversation stuff, and you'll get it. So
let me it's in here. Do you guys want to keep talking? Because I could set up a stream real quick.
I'm going to take off. I have supper coming up and stuff.
Danny, you and I have to do our round tour, get into the dualism thing and the mental aspects.
Okay.
But you ain't gonna like me. You ain't gonna like it.
Argument written form. Do you want the written form before we get into it?
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
Okay, then I'll do that.
Speed, make sure and CC me on that way.
I will. Okay.
Me too. So
let's end this thing. It'll be easier for me.
Yeah. Also, I recommend people Google Shelley Kagan, and I think he's at Yale.
I thought he was at. Oh, was I wrong? I thought it was
Stanford. Harvard.
I'm gonna look.
Maybe. I things mixed up, but he has a 26 point series on death, and it's basically starts with Plato and works up to contemporary philosophy.
I'm sorry, it was Yale. I don't know. I wonder.
There we go. Yay! My memory worked.
I have a question.
I'm 63. My memory worked. It's a happy day.
Internet went out again.
Leo,
what? My internet didn't go out. Has Craig and Graham Oppie ever debated other than the does math point to God debate they had on capturing Christianity?
I don't.
That's the only one I can find. But I would.
I think he's kind of new to the whole debate stuff, right? Like in philosophy of religion. Am I wrong?
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know.
He is a philosopher of religion and a naturalist. I would have expected him and William Lane Craig to have debated before, but maybe not. I think he, like you said, I think he is a little bit new to sort of the debate circle.
I respect Oppie big time too. I respect Alex Malpass, Oppie, Shelley Kagan, Stephen Law. These are some of my favorite atheists.
Wait, not me?
Well,
hey, I'm kidding.
What about the late Quentin Smith?
I'm not familiar with Quentin Smith. Who's that?
He was a philosopher and a naturalist. Some have argued that he was probably one of the best defenders of naturalism from a philosophical standpoint. And now that he's no longer with us, a lot of people are saying that Graham Oppie has kind of ascended to that point. Yeah, taken up that mantle.
I'm not familiar with him. And that's just my ignorance. So
hey guys, I have got to go and switch over to this other conversation. So let's end the stream. Okay.
Bye.
Yes, and learn how to fucking OBS, dude.
Bye all.
Because this problem is a StreamYard problem. It's not.
What-
It's not an internet problem.
What do you mean? You mean
Me
your problem?
consistently dropping out did never. I don't have these problems on
How can
Zoom.
it be a problem on this end when it's only you that's been dropping out and botting?
I don't know. Because this never happens to me on Zoom, and this never happens to me on Google Meet because they're more stable. StreamYard is not a stable platform.
Anyway, bye all out there in the world. I'm ending the broadcast. We'll see you guys.
Bye bye.